Doing it on video or on the screen, sharing the screen?
I'll go ahead and share the screen. Oh, thank you.
Sharing the whole thing.
Oh, right.
Are you just gonna be on that one screen, right? This one tab?
Yep.
Okay, then
I'll
I'll
be on
just
all
share
those
that
tabs
one.
up there.
Yeah.
Excellent. So we're live now, right?
Yeah, we are that.
There we go. Rock and roll. Very good. So the market's crazy, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Really crazy. So have you been running across multiple offers?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody have multiple offers? What's the most that anybody's seen for multiple offers? How many offers have you been competing with?
6.
6 offers? Anybody higher than 6? So I've heard 11, 8s, 9s. So inventory short. With real estate, everything kind of ebbs and flows. And so, boy, we're in multiple offers. So we have something that I think is something put you in a position that you're competitive in a multiple offer. No one really is doing this outside of concepts. If we're sharing it here, it's something that we pulled out of Arizona and some other markets, and it works. We had 2 agents that we shared this idea with. They went into multiple offers, and one of the agents did get the offer accepted. The other one had the highest offer, but didn't get it because it was the seller wanted to sell to a neighbor. Okay, but it works like a charm. Okay, so you'll find this in dot loop. So when you go to dot loop and you want to add to the addendum this clause, and so when you have dot loop open up, right up here it says add clause. Click this and then check mark acceleration clause, and then we'll kind of go through this a little bit. You're going to have a lead up on anybody around on multiple offers for probably 3 to 6 months. After that time, other people will start, other companies, other agents will start picking this up. Okay. Now, I'll kind of go through this a little bit. Now it added it twice. I think I clicked it twice. But okay. So we call this an acceleration clause. I'm going to go ahead and read through this, and we can visit about it a little bit. It says, should any other bona fide offer on said property, which is or was made on or before such and such date, be equal to or higher than X number of dollars less any seller contributions, i.e. closing costs, etc., to the buyer, buyer hereby agrees to pay X more than said offer to the maximum sales price of X, provided seller transmits to buyer in writing within 2 days of receipt of another offer. Okay. So when you add this, is let's say the house is at $200,000. That's the list price. You write the offer at $200,000. You put $1,000, okay, above the highest other offer. Then you cap it. So in other words, if your buyer says, hey, I'll pay $210,000 for this house, you write an offer of $200,000 with $1,000 above the other highest offer. So if an offer comes, if they have multiple offers and the other highest offer is $208, your client has the house for $209. Okay. Obviously, if there's an offer of $210, it's going to be equal, and the seller will decide. If another offer is at $211, you're out. Okay. Now, you protect your buyer. I mean, it's a little bit crazy going over these list prices because we're seeing some acceleration in listing prices, which is unusual, this rapid in this market. I expect it just over the next 12 to 18 months to see this, and then it's going to stabilize. But your buyer's protected in one way is by the appraisal. Okay, so as long as you check mark subject to appraisal, this works like a charm. When you submit it to the listing agent, you do need to point it out. Okay, so it's real important to point this out. I would use this for every single multiple offer. I wouldn't go without it. Okay. Now, if you're a listing agent, and let's say that you have 5 offers, and 2 concepts agents wrote offers with the same acceleration clause, as a listing agent, you can do highest and best. You could go with one of them, but if you have 2 of them, what you can do is the seller can pick based on your guidance which one you want to go with. Okay. Or you can counter off both of their. You wouldn't have to counter it off, but you can decide which one you want to go with. Okay. In that case, you could go back to the one that looks like the strongest offer, if they by chance had the same cap, and just go back to one offer and say, hey, you can get this property for this price here. So there's some protection on the listing side of how to play that. Am I kind of explaining myself well there? Okay.
What happens when the seller sees this and they see, oh, my house is listed for 200, we have multiple offers, and they're willing to pay up to 210 for it? Why wouldn't they just counter our offer at 210?
That's a good question. Haven't seen that, but what they have to do in here, they have to show the other offer. So in other words, if
they can legally do that, show us the other offer before
you're requesting it.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, so you want to go ahead and shut that door, Ryan? Thanks.
I had this happen to me as a listing agent 2 years ago. Actually, an acceleration clause came in, and we accepted it with the acceleration clause, but I had to provide the first page of the other purchase agreement, and I blocked out who the buyer was for the other agent, but I had to provide proof that we were that this was what was accelerating the offer. But I mean, it worked on my sellers because it was.
Well, and with that, couldn't they still, they could still counter, right?
Yes.
They could say, hey, there's no other offers, but we see you're willing to pay 210, so that's our counter, let us know.
Yes. Well, you would, if an agent did that,
you wouldn't use it.
Well, I'm not saying the buyer would have to accept it either, I get that, but.
well, it should only be used for multiple offers.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Now, the other thing, it's powerful on for sale by owners if they have multiple offers coming in, because you've got to show proof, so they can't play any games there. So, but I'd encourage you to write. I wouldn't write it multiple offers. I would always have this. Okay. Any other questions with it?
So this one here, let's say your example of the 200,000, fill in the blank on before like today's date, be equal to or higher than. Is that where you put the 210 in it?
Mm-hmm.
And then you go on from there. Buyer agrees to pay $1,000 more than set offer up to sale price of 210. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
We're putting in 210 in 2 blanks.
No, you put 210 in 1 blank. So equal to or higher than blank, less any seller commissions and closing costs. Buyer hereby agrees to pay $1,000 more. So right here is your max.
210.
So, okay. Because your purchase agreement will have the 200 in that situation.
Okay. And then on the last blank, then we're putting in.
Oh, the maximum here. Well, let me go through this again. Blank. Be equal to or higher than blank. Oh, that would be your 200,000.
List price.
Yeah. I'm sorry about that.
200,000. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So the first one's list price?
No, whatever you're offering on the PA. I mean, you don't have to offer 200,000. You can start with 203. If it was listed at 200. But it might be a good idea to just start at list price.
So where it says be equal to or higher than, that's your offer. So if you want to go 199.9, you could.
Mm-hmm.
And then less any contributions, whatever, agrees to pay $1,000 more than other offer, up to a maximum 210. Okay, I got it.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And so what do they have to provide then? Say you get that offer, what is it that they have to provide to you? Like she said, the front of the purchase agreement, or what is it that they?
Just proof that they have another offer that was for that $1,000 less than your offer.
So then they'll actually send you like the purchase agreement.
You wouldn't share that with your buyers. If you do share it with your buyers, you would make, if they did cross it off like Maria did, if they didn't cross it off, then you would make sure you black everything off if you want to show it to your buyer. The names and stuff like that. Okay, very good. Okay, so let's go to this, let's talk about the new website here and kind of give you an idea of what we're doing with this. So we've done a soft landing with this about 30 days ago or so when it went live. And with this, so what we've done is we've taken realestateconcepts.net and we've created one office concepts website. And with this, it's kind of unique here in this marketplace because we have 4 associations on here. So we have Des Moines, we have Ames, Iowa City, and Cedar Rapids listings on here. We're seeing through internal data as far as when people are searching and movement. Also, people that are searching here are living in Cedar Rapids or Sioux City and places like that. And sometimes they're searching in 2 different communities. They're looking in Des Moines and Iowa City because of job transfers and things like that. So we really believe that this will create a lot more synergy for leads, but also we think that it's going to create a lot more referrals amongst all of you. Okay, not only from Des Moines to Cedar Rapids to Ames and things like that. Much better. Now, the leads that you receive will be your primary association. Okay, you'll show on listings. This is full IDX. So the agents rotate. You rotate on each detailed listing page, and you'll only rotate on your primary association. So if you're in the Ankeny office, you would rotate just on DMAR. If you're in Ames, your primary association is Ames, you'll rotate on the Ames listing side. Okay. So I'll show you some features here. This is just the start. We still have more work to do on it, and it's going to keep evolving. We believe with the data that I've been running and looking at, that we can get more eyeballs on this than Iowa Realty here. So right now, Iowa Realty controls with their website, they have the most visitors. Okay, we're probably at internal data that I pulled up yesterday about 50% less. Okay, but we're getting nearly 5,000 unique visitors a month in the first 30 days. We have not done any SEO or any PPC yet on it, and those things are going to be developing, but we feel we can position this to get a lot more eyeballs on. And if we can do that, that's going to be great for all of you because we have 180 agents compared to their 650 plus agents. Okay. Now, with this, we do have up here under agent care, we have your agent CRM login. This is where you log in to see the leads that are assigned to you. We also have agent support, which this is a site that we've developed that does have some links up here, but there's a back end full of content. This will be rolling out later this year in the fall, which will be a great resource for you. And eventually, the Wednesday training will be on this page here. And that will be most likely midsummer. Agent Finder up here, we have agents and offices. So from the analytics that I'm seeing, we get quite a few hits going to this page right here. So we have each office, address, that comes in handy if you need an office address. Also agents. So you'll find your profile here, and it is done by last name. So let's go. Kathy, I'm trying to find you, but you got that W, Tanya, there we go.
Jason,
Okay.
I do 12 years old now.
So,
That's getting changed.
so right
That's
here,
why I went to my shoes.
right here, you have information with your office address, your cell phone, and then your email address. But you can add your website, and I highly encourage you to do that, because we do see Google searches where someone they'll see Kathy's name on a sign or someplace like that. Someone refers her to it, and they Google the name. Okay, and so they can come in here, they can see, like for example, Chad. They go Chad, and they go right directly to his website. Okay? If you go under more, then you'll have your listings that will show here. Okay, so you do want to check that. If you have listings that aren't here that you have active, it will be an your MLS ID number is not correct. Okay, I'll show you where that's at. Okay, with it, we're testing more lead generation ideas here. We have different communities, and then we have where each major office is located. Okay, so you go into the Des Moines, for example. Des Moines takes them just directly to Des Moines listings. You can click on the listing, and you can see this rotating here. This will rotate.
Cool.
It is forced registration after the first view. Now I'm logged in, so that's why it's not forcing it. But let me show you how that forced works. Well, I'm gonna have to log off here. So the forced registration comes up this way. The reason we're doing forced, we want to grab that lead if it's this visitor, if they're 6 weeks out or 12 weeks or 2 years out. Okay. Now, people will come to this and they won't register. That's fine. They can go to Zillow or Trillia or some other place where they can search. But we want to capture as many people as we can for you. Okay. Now, they can register right here with Facebook, Google+, Twitter, LinkedIn. They can fill this out right here. Now, after someone fills out a lead, you'll receive a text, and you'll need to set up your texting on this, but you'll receive a text like this of what they filled out. For example, this was an IDX registration, so this would have been, they wanted to look at a property, forced them to register, they register. Okay. When you get this on your text, you can click this link. It will take you right into the back end where you can see the lead. Okay. And we'll go into the back end a little bit here.
Where do you set up the text? Or are you going to get to that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll show you one. Yeah, good question. I'll get to the back end on that.
I couldn't leave last night.
So right here is the notification that you receive by email of the lead. Now in this one here, I just took out names, last names, and stuff like that. But it'll have the full email address and everything there. The client will receive this right here. So that when they register, this one was a free home valuation, but they'll get an email on the IDX side too. So let me go back here, and I'll show you a couple things for lead generation besides that. We're testing this, find out what your home is really worth. And when they click this, testing a little bit of information here. This is basically an RPR, Realtor Property Resource, that you can prepare for them. It's some of the same wording. We just took the wording, rewrote it, make it a little bit more personable. But they can go here. They can complete this. Okay, that would be a seller form lead. The other item that we're testing is how to buy a home with little or no money down. And the reason for that is between 2000 and 2003, generating leads with no money down, there's only a few lenders that did it. It captured a lot of buyer leads. So if you're looking for more buyer leads, this will capture buyer leads. But when we got to 2006, all the lenders were doing no money down. It didn't work anymore. Okay, so there is no money down, especially when in the rural areas with the rural housing, and also with the University of Iowa Credit Union has 100% financing, and that's a portfolio loan. Okay, so we're testing that. This is just some verbiage here to encourage them to register on the site. And we're kind of playing off the buyer that's looking at all these different websites because they can't find a home. Obviously, there's nothing out there to find. So they're desperately trying to find a home. So we're trying to encourage this portion right here. And then contacting. With the lead sources is what we're hoping to do is for the no money down. I'll be taking I don't need leads, so I'll be taking my stuff off so I don't show there. But in this area right here, we're contemplating putting like 100% financing, no money down, okay, to draw leads there, okay. The last portion of the leads is up here, and so if you go to Ames area, this is where they can receive a free market analysis. Now, how this works, let's go to Des Moines because I know an address here. So what the user would do is they would type their address. I probably had better go to this site here because I'm already registered on that other site. Okay. Oops. Des Moines. So it does this. They come down here and they do residential, ask them to register. Okay, so that would be a seller form request lead. And the visitors is they go here to search for Ames, they go to Cedar Rapids, they wanted to search Cedar Rapids. Here. Okay, so to log in, Nellie sent an email out that gives you your username and a starting password. You definitely want to log into the site, change your password. Okay, so that's the first step to do. When you go into the back end, you will come to a dashboard. And the dashboard will show you the leads that you received and some activity on it. And then my preferences. So when you go into my preferences, you're going to have your photo here. So if you want to change your photo, this is the place to change it. You have your username. Looks like you can change your username, email address, and then here's where, Jason, here's where that texting is at. Okay. And if you click this question mark, it will pull up your notification settings here. So you can have your notification settings. And if you Google your provider, it will tell you what the ad is.
Is VTEX, is that Verizon?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Which office you're in. So if you change offices or move offices, you just need to update this. Don't put the office phone number, okay? Put your number, your cell number, direct number. That's the number you need, okay? Because we want, if someone's on here, we want them to come right to you. Add your agent bio here. Realtor, real estate consultant, whatever you want for a title. Add your URL. I believe you do need the HTTP here. This will show on the agent roster when people search. Now, as far as MLS IDs is, Joanne, for example, you're just in Ames.
I'm on both.
You're on both right now? Okay, so you're on both, but Ames is your primary one. So you wouldn't put DMAR, you would put the Ames MLS ID number. Okay? And Maria, you just use the DMAR. Okay? Your email signature, so you want to add your email signature here. So if you send emails and things like that out of here, add signature to emails. There is no marketing campaigns or automatic emails as far as content yet. We hope to build that a little bit later. We are testing some emails and responses. But once they do register, you can go in here and set up a search for them so that they can receive those automatic emails. Okay. There's also that area there. So any questions about this port? This is the most important thing to get set up. Okay. When you go into your leads, is you have leads in here. Okay. So right here, this Robb test cubby lead is you'll see that this is right here is a search. So it looks like I was searching between 425 and 12 million, and which I'm not gonna. 2 inquiries. So I believe I registered IDXY on the listing, but then I went into the request a seller form on those 2 ways that you can request a CMA. Okay. Shows calls. You can so if you have the site, when you call them, at least you can record it, what you did or what you talked to and didn't reach them. Emails, if you send emails, notes, listing views. Looks like I've looked at 10 listing views. So anytime an email comes out and I've looked at the listing view, it shows. If I'm on the site and I'm searching, it's gonna record that information. Searches, haven't done any searches. I visited 8 times. When you get the lead, you want to accept it. I'll show you what to do there. So you have the lead here. This is where you can add notes. You want to let you know about the calls. You can add reminders. Like up here, here's a reminder that shows up. Listings, you could save listings for them if you want them to look at it. You can also, at this portion right here, is let's say you have a lead, they looked at 3 listings in Altoona, 250 to 275. You could go in here and set up another search and maybe use Bondurant. So they get some listings from Bondurant. Okay. You'd go to the edit, the lead, and I believe that when the leads are auto-signed to you, that this will say accept. If not, you definitely want to put accept. And then you have save it. Let me go back to the summary. And over here on the summary, shows you the date that it was assigned. A heat map is not selected. Status is accepted. It says subscribe to campaigns. I believe that this right now is just the auto emails. Is what that's what that's triggering. Okay. Preferred contact phone. They can check what they want. We have it automatically for phone. Sometimes when you let me show you this. So right here, they can consent, and we're seeing some people do this. They actually put consent. They want to receive emails. That's pretty good. But we do have it triggered that preferred contact is the phone. So they're pretty much all going to say that phone unless they change it themselves. Shows the residential, where they're looking, price ranges. Down here, it has other remarks. This remark came from when I filled out that seller form, where I went in and added my address and it put it on the map. When it popped up, I added that. I believe I added that there or on the other site, the other seller listing CMA request. Then to the right, you can see join date, last activity, original source, visits, page views. So you can click this right here for your page views of what they've been looking at. So it looks like I was looking at some stuff in Southwest College. Form inquiries, if you click this, and this works on the phone too. You get the lead on that text, you click it, you go into it takes you right to the lead. You can click the form that they did, and you can find out right on your phone. But if I click this here, form submission, seller form, so here's the information. I put in the address. This is the CMA form, and it shows more information. So this one came from the map one. That is, you can get history of it. You can get your notes, email. Now the email function we haven't tested yet, just to give you an idea. That's one of our things with the visits, so you can see all the different visits. You can record transactions in here, and I think this is kind of to keep track of sales prices and sold prices for buying for yourself, you know, if you wanted to use this, okay? So these leads that come in are right here. Any questions on it? So when the leads are assigned to you, they're your leads. If you're using another program, you're more than welcome to move them out and put them in a different program. They're your leads. It's good to leave them in there because if they come back to this, if they've already on the site and they're doing searches on the site, probably easier just to let them keep searching on the site. But if you aren't getting activity on it and you have other emails or other databases, they're yours. Just, you know, you take the lead and move it where you want. Okay.
Is there any sort of export feature at all, or no? Like if you wanted to connect it to another site?
You could, you can. They have an export feature coming in. I don't think I have that option on it.
Okay.
You could use the
CSV?
well, you could probably do that. I have to check. But there's also an email. It's not a Paris email. It's a where some sites, like Follow Up Boss, for example, they give you that one certain email, and you take that email and you put it into all your leads.
Yeah.
So then the notifications go there, and then it reads it and it puts it into Follow Up Boss.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure if that would show. It's a really good question.
Like I use Top Producer, and I mean, I could easily copy the information over as well, but.
No, it'd be better if it was Mac. See, the only problem is because the emails show here. So let me look into that.
Okay.
That's a great question.
Yeah, like I had to set up my Zillow weird in order to make it work with Top Producer because they aren't true partners. They kind of don't like each other.
Kind of compete, yeah.
I had some where my Zillow email is like my leads at something. It's weird.
Okay. Well, that's what I have for you today. And
so if we got a lead, like I got one last night, it's live, right?
Oh, yeah,
That's a real person, not a test.
that's a real person.
Probably ought to call her then, huh?
That's a real person. Yes, yes. So, again, we just want to get more exposure, try to capture more leads. And what we're really doing is we're targeting this site to get more visitors than Iowa Realty site, which would be huge for you. If we get that many visitors, which I feel that we can do with my research, with only 180 agents, is that generation for you guys will be really well. Of course, there's going to be bad leads. There are going to be leads 6 months out or 12 months out. But I think the lead quality is going to be fairly good. The reason I do is because a lot of the lead generation sites that are being used, Boomtown, Conversion, Commission Inc., Real Geeks, and some of that's being done, or some of the stuff that Neil Timmons is doing, it's really blind type of lead generation, which you might capture more leads. But I think that when someone registers here with the RE/MAX name, there's a little bit of confidence there because they know what the brand is. And I think the lead quality will be a little bit better. Those blinded sites, you have no clue who it is because
And they don't
buried
know they're
names.
necessarily signing up to talk to anyone either.
Yes. Absolutely.
Rob, question for you. You were talking about being able to set up saved searches for your buyers. Will that only search your primary MLS, or is that going to search across multiples? Like, I have buyers that are searching both Des Moines and Ames, and right now I have to have them on 2 separate MLS searches. So they get multiples. If I set it up through here, will it search both Des Moines and Ames if it's looking at Huxley, let's say?
Oh, God,
Or is
that's a
it
great
going to just
question.
search Des Moines because that's my primary MLS?
Maria, that's a terrific question. If we go into, let me see.
I know the lead I got was looking at something in Grinnell also, so I don't really know how that happened, but.
Oh, here's a C21 lead. Okay, so Christina, she's a C21. So if I go to search and I go to create my search, it opens up another window. Since she's an agent, we're just going to send her every day. Until she unsubscribes. There we go. I think you might be able to do it.
Okay. I didn't know since you had to select Des Moines or Ames if that was going to lock you into an MLS or not. So I'll have to play around with it.
I don't have a Ames MLS ID, but I was able to do it. So go
Because
ahead.
there's some overlap there too, of course. You know, there's some Ames properties that are on DMAR and vice versa. Right?
Oh, yes, there will be some overlap.
Right.
Which,
But there's overlap with buyers where listings aren't on both. So
absolutely.
Have a streamlined search result would be phenomenal for our buyers.
Do this if you can. Go ahead and register as a user.
Okay.
Don't use your Concepts email or remax.net email.
Okay.
So register as a user, and then go in as. If you do that when we're done here, I'll make sure it's assigned to you.
Okay.
And then go in and set up a search as an agent and play with
Okay.
it. That's powerful. Especially if you had let's say you had a client that's going to move into Cedar Rapids. Okay. So you go in, you set them up a search here, and you refer it to a Cedar Rapids agent. And they might be looking at moving to Cedar Rapids in 6 months or so. That's pretty powerful.
It'd be more of a seamless result for our clients too, presentation wise, because right now both the MLSs look so different, and when they get those search results, they're used to the portal and matrix, or they're used to seeing the AIM stuff, and it's confusing. I mean, it's confusing for agents, and we are in it all day. So
absolutely. Okay. I do notice because I've signed up on these where I receive automatic notifications from different websites. And I don't think we have the issue here, but I do see a lot of new listings that come on that don't have the photos yet. It's like it takes them a day or 2 days to put the photos on. And I think the listing agents are making a mistake by doing that. Do you think so?
I do.
Yeah.
Well, some of those agents, like my friend that works at Coldwell Bank, she said they don't have control because they aren't allowed to enter their own things, and so they rely on their admin or their staff to enter it, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now, when you submit a listing with, are we getting the photos on in time? This right when it's live? If you send your listing in the photos, or if you send your photos in first on listing paperwork, or when you send your listing paperwork and you're telling the ACR, hey, I got photos coming in an hour, are you making sure that the photos and the listing is live at the same time? And are we doing that? Or are we putting it live without photos?
I'm assuming they do it all at once.
They should.
I guess I don't double check an hour later or whatever, but I'm assuming they do.
Okay, I'll follow up. I think that's what they're doing because that's what you'd really want.
Because they can save it as a draft until they get the photos. I believe that's what they're doing.
I think you're correct, yeah.
I've had it done both ways, and I recently requested that they only make it live for photos.
Good, okay.
Well, I think you get a slower intake of buyers when you don't put the photos on with it.
Absolutely. Because everybody's sending either through the MLS or other websites, sending these out. If you got 6 homes that doesn't have a photo.
S&O in certain price points, there's agents just not even taking pictures. The minute it hits,
It's sold.
sold, and there's not worth their time or money to, if they're gonna have.
Yeah, but that's still, it's a
professional photos.
disservice to your client though,
It
regardless.
is, but I think that's a mentality too. They're just like, oh, it's gonna be done and I'm not gonna have to deal with it. So they just don't, which is unfortunate because
Well, and especially
for
for
markets
those
down the
areas,
road
too.
too, it'll
Yeah,
be
exactly.
challenging.
Well, when you can put your history on to show the homes that you sold with all those beautiful photos, it makes a difference. Right. Now, last thing, and Lou and Shane they're gonna have, as we finish here, we got the breakfast tomorrow, and we have Michael Libby coming in to talk, which is a lot of fun. Okay. Now, so Shane and Ooh, the 3rd week of April, is going to have a mastermind on reviews, and I want to set this scenario up. There's changes with Zillow, and we've been very, very pro Zillow. I mean, I think Kathy, you got involved when we first started, like in 2011. Very pro with it. Zillow's moving to a different area that kind of concerns me. We've had premier listings with them for 3 or 4 years, and we've had so that no other ads can be on there. They're taking our fees and they're quadrupling them. Okay, because they do not want the brokers to do that because it lessens the advertisers and they get a lot more money from the agent. So a year ago, or 6 or 8 months ago, the president of Zillow was on CNBC, a financial network. He was talking to financial people, investors, to help to invest money, local mom and pops or whatever, just investment channel, to invest in Zillow. So he wasn't talking to agents. He said that they kept saying, he said how much revenue that can be generated in advertising from the real estate community. He put out the number, billions. And then they said, well, how are you going to increase your revenue? He said, well, we specifically on the agent, and we'll keep raising the fees, the amount that we charge. We'll just keep moving those up. And they said, and then also goes, we can only go so far. They'll only spend so much. He goes, we'll keep moving them up, and because there's a few people that will pay that exorbitant amount, okay, and it will weed everybody out. So their plan is to keep raising those items, the cost of it. Later this summer, they're testing it in Arizona and some other markets. What they've done, it's gone to a pay per click, or not pay per click, zip code bidding. So it's almost like AdWords. It's open to all agents. They go in, my understanding, they go in and you bid on zip codes. So now you have someone that wants to spend $10,000 a month for the Western One zip code, they'll spend it. Okay, so that it increases the price. The other thing that we have, and something to think about, and this is what Ooh and Shane's going to talk about, is reviews. It's been great to put all the reviews there, but here's the thing. Those reviews aren't seen, they're not searchable, because Zillow keeps it off the searches. You'll never find your reviews searchable, okay? And when they ask you to share they give you the stuff to share your reviews on Facebook and other sites, they're doing that to give them more Google reviews, okay? Which is taking business away. So that mastermind is going to talk about other ways to be more effective with your reviews. So I'm just going to give you kind of that basis because there's a change and we want to be much more effective. Real estate ebbs and flows. And I think that the flow is I think Zillow might be the place to start moving away from, okay? Which, with the brokers, in the broker circle, what we talked about, we haven't made a decision yet, but we've talked about pulling our listings, not automatically feeding our listings to Zillow anymore. Now, as an agent, if you have Premier, they're still there. If you have a client that must be on there because you're going to lose it if someone has it on there, it can be put on there. The reason we're doing that, if they're quadrupling our fee, monthly fee for the marketing, we would have to go back and ask for another $150 a month to cover the cost, okay? I have a problem putting the listings out there for agents that choose not to have Premier and then have ads on them. I can't, it doesn't sit well with me a little bit. So we're exploring that idea from a high level.
I guess I struggle with that a little bit because Zillow is so widely used by buyers out there. So if we're not on Zillow, if our listings aren't on Zillow, I think that's going to be a disservice to our clients, whether they're buyers or sellers.
Eventually it could, but if the one way to explain it, and that's a very legitimate and very real concern. The market is hot. The buyers, as you know, your buyers, you're frantically looking for something, okay? So the buyers are going to multiple sites to look. Because if you have something come from the MLS or from your own site or from this site, they're looking at Trulia, they're going to homes.com, they're going to Realtor because they can't find it and they don't believe everything has it. We already know that Zillow doesn't have the accurate information. We already know that there's stuff that's listed and not listed on there. We know that. Buyers know that too. If we pulled off our listings, it would be 15% of the listing base that's in this market, which gives more doubt to them. There's a couple brokers, several brokers in other markets that pulled them off. And what happened was they started their agents based on other sites like Realtor.com, Remax, and some of these brokers weren't with Remax, was they were getting more leads there and they were end up selling some of their listings a little bit more. Another thing is if you don't have it on there and you show it, the pitch or the talk would be, hey, I have it here, but then we've got 3 other ads on here and they're going to call this agent. This agent has no knowledge of your house, never been in the house, they don't care about the house, they're going to take the lead and it's a team, they're going to give it off to some other agent, okay, or they take the lead, they're going to sell them something else. They're just using it for lead generation, it's not really marketing your house. So that's kind of my theory, but Kathy, you're spot on what you're talking about. So like you're on Premier, so it wouldn't affect you at all. It would. So my thought process, can it be an option? Can it be an agent option agent? Then we can take that money, put that someplace else to generate leads there. Because when it quadruples, I mean, we're talking like nearly $150,000 a year.
Well, I think part of the problem is, half the agents in Des Moines can't figure out Matrix. Buyers and sellers or buyers specifically that don't use it every day, they look at the site and they're like, nope, I'm going to Zillow. It's not user friendly at all. And 90% of the people I work with, they're like, oh yeah, I saw this on Zillow or I saw this on Trulia because, oh, well, how come you're not using your site? Oh, I hate it. And, whatever company that makes them, they don't care, it feels like.
With Matrix?
Yeah, not DMAR specific, the company that's making the site, CoreLogic or whatever, they don't care because it's a monopoly more or less anyway. And people are like, yeah, no, I know you're sending me those, but I look at the addresses in your email and then I go to a site that actually works.
I don't think it's that they don't care, if I can just inject my 2
I think they think from real estate. You're getting real estate people to prove this. You're not thinking like a buyer, thinking like us.
Or I think they think
Sometimes
like
we
a
can
filmmaker.
complicate things sometimes because we know the business so well, and a buyer just wants to, Zillow's so simple.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's kind of the site we did for the concepts. So vivid and simple, and simple's good.
Mhm.
I mean, half the time, if I'm on the go, if I'm on my phone, I use Zillow. I don't pull up the matrix. Pain in the butt.
Matrix is a little bit more complicated, you know, it's not easy just to.
I would definitely always search. I search and review homes always on I go to Zillow, Realtor.com, Remax. I go here for the consumer experience. I would never personally. I would never send out an automatic email campaign out of Matrix. I just wouldn't do it because I think it's crap. I don't think it's as good as what you have available. If you're using a conversion, a Boomtown, maybe Top Producer, if they have that. This, Lead Street. I think the experience is. I think you get better data.
And I agree with you. I don't like Zillow either. I often tell people when they're like, "Oh, well, I saw this house for sale." No, it's not really for sale. I'm like, Zillow's number one goal is to get money from someone like me. I don't like them. I use them because they exist. If they didn't exist, I'd be a lot happier. So I agree with you on that. They're just trying to make more money, but
Rob, does
the
D-Bar
interface.
make money on Zillow? No, not at all.
No, they don't. It would be.
Would it be an antitrust violation for all companies to do and say, you know, none of us are doing this anymore?
If we pulled off, I think not right away, but eventually. The stats that I'm seeing is that the agents end up selling more of their listings, and then that community starts, the activity on Zillow gets a little bit less. I just have so I'm kind of in a tough boat. So when I look at it, tough boat, that's not even a word, is it? Or not even a phrase. What does that mean?
You're in a tough spot. You're in a tough spot.
You know, I'm in a tough spot, okay? You know, I want to be in a tough boat. I don't want to sink. So I'm in a tough spot. If we go from 36,000 to nearly 150,000, okay? To have everybody have Premier, so there's no other ads. That cost is in the $90 that we take, that we charge every month, okay? So we got to pass that cost. So we have to raise everybody's cost, okay? So we have a group of agents that are, some are like, they could care less if it's on there, some that really want it on there, okay? So we have to raise everybody's cost. If we didn't do that, then I just know the effects of it. If we don't have it, how the competitors and the people that are buying the clicks are going to have an advantage over that. I've seen the advantage.
Would the listings go on there just not our picture would go on there if it was our listing, or the listings wouldn't go on there at all?
Well, right now what's happening, I've been delaying them for 6 months and trying to force them to get the fees down, is when it feeds in there, it would be, let's say you don't have Premier, and we're not setting up the Premier brokerage. The listing agent would show because you've registered. Okay, now if you never created an account, you wouldn't show. And then the 3 ads would show. Okay, if we stop the fee, then let's say, for example, Matt doesn't want his listings on there. Okay, he talks to the seller, he convinces them, he doesn't want them on there. Okay, we stop the fee completely. Okay, if you have Premier, they'll be on there. Okay, so your listings will always be on there. You'd have no problem. Then let's say Matt has an appointment with the seller, and the seller says, well, you got to be on Zillow. If you're not on Zillow, then I'm not going to list with you. Then Matt can put it on Zillow, or it can be fed into Zillow. Okay, fairly easy. I think we can do it without having to type. Okay, and so it's there. I think it can go each way.
I guess I don't even care truly, maybe this is being naive, but I don't care if I'm a Premier, I don't care if my picture is associated with my listing per se, because I'm just trying to get that house sold for my client. So whether I sell it or another agent sells it, I don't care, as long as the listings are on there.
Keep in mind that if someone contacts you about your listing, you know everything about it, you've been inside.
Right, no, I get that, I totally get that. But
like he's saying, the other agent that gets it is just trying to, they might try to do from your property, they inquire, but they're just trying to get it as a client.
well, and that's what I do when I get leads from Zillow, obviously. I'm trying to, get a buyer, and if they want to see that house that my picture was on, great. I don't know anything about it either. And that does get frustrating when you're driving down the road and somebody calls and asks you about a house and you're like, I don't know, like,
Right.
I have no idea.
I just stopped answering.
You don't have to be a
I have to
premier
wait.
agent to
Yeah.
advertise on Zillow. You just have to be a premier agent to get the lead from the advertising on Zillow, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, so I mean, you could still advertise.
Yeah.
even if you-
Well, I think the difference with what you're saying is the listing agent still shows first,
Right.
and I can't think of
It doesn't,
a scenario. Yeah, they do.
if you're not a premier agent, you're not
Are you sure?
positive. That's how you get leads from other people's listings.
No, but the listing agent shows top of the other three though. It'll say
Yeah.
listing
It'll
agent.
say
and it's
listing
always
agent,
top
and then the
down
other ones
below.
feed in, and then it's
It's
just
not
on
always top,
ours.
though.
Yeah, I thought it was too.
If they're not, if they're
If it's
not
for
like
sale
a.
by owner, property owner's always at the bottom.
Right. Way bottom.
Because I get calls from agents all the time.
So do I, I'm like,
I'm like, really, dude?
Yeah, I
It's
think
your
that
first time on Zillow.
if they're not like a paid, like a
Mhm.
premier, then it's one of the top three, but it's not always the top.
I gotcha.
Hey Kathy, I don't think it would,
And I'm Premier as well, so I probably see it differently.
if in 18 months or 2 years, as the market cools, or if this was 2012, I think the exposure's good. But today, not even being on Zillow, I do not think it would affect the amount of activity and amount of offers. I don't think it would affect it at all because the market is so hot.
yeah, but the market's not gonna be hot forever, and if we pull the plug now, then we have to,
Well,
go back to that in
Well,
18 months or 2 years.
Weren't we off for a little bit of time here a year or so ago? When our listings pulled, because there was a period of time where I know we had a discussion about the fact that not all of our listings were feeding to Zillow, and there was part of the fee controversy, and then all of a sudden they were all back on again, so.
No, that wasn't the feed. That was constant feed issues. So like Nellie, every week is dealing with feed issues with them because they don't feed correctly, they don't respond, they get data in, they get it wrong. Sometimes they have wrong numbers in there.
The photos don't flow like they're supposed to, like the photos on the MLS are in a certain order, and then on Zillow they're in a different, and you're like, what the
Or
heck?
yeah, if you delete them, sometimes they stay on Zillow.
Realtor.com, we might have one issue a year. Zillow, I think Nellie probably has 100 or so issues a year.
Oh, at least.
Well, my point of what I was saying is as opposed to paying extra fees, if it just went to where there was 4 agents listed on a listing as opposed to 1.
Well, that's
That
what I'm
wouldn't
saying.
bother me
I
at
don't
all.
care at all about
I mean,
that.
Remax.com doesn't give you your leads. You know, if they don't go to your specific Remax site, I get leads for other Remax offices all the time.
Well, of course, because
Because I mean, if Remax.com doesn't do it, why should Zillow do it? We pay Remax.
Remax, if they go to and that's being revamped in 3 weeks, it should be done, the new Remax. If they go to your listing, you'll get the lead. If they're already in your site and they go to Remax listing, it still comes back to you.
If they're at your site, but if they just go to Remax.com.
If they go to, but we also have our office website. So the office website, which gets some activity and leads do generate through that. If they go to Remax Real Estate Group listing and they've gone to our side of it, it comes to you. Because it works just like if they went to this new site.
Yeah, I don't know. I've just had people call me on that listing. I'm like, well, where are you seeing this? Because that's not my listing. Oh, I'm on Remax.com, and your picture is next to it. It's your name, your phone number, your picture. It's right here, and I'm looking at it on the site because it's that round robin there.
Now that would be Remax.com.
Maybe it changed because I haven't had it happen in a while.
I spend money with Zillow,
I spend a ton.
so
of
it's
money
not
on
gonna affect me or you or whoever else spends money on zip codes. You're gonna be a premier agent regardless of whether the company spends. That's your own business decision, obviously, but I'd like to eventually get away from, I feel like
Well,
what they've done there by dividing everything up.
Right,
What
I
they've
don't-
done there by including, you get a lot for sell by owner rooms, obviously, and stuff like that. I just feel like it's more for the sell by owner and the rental site than it really does help the real estate.
Well, it's not a.
It's still making me money though, so I can't kill it
I
yet.
understand.
Yeah, I wouldn't kill it, Kathy, if it's working for you. It's a tough issue. Again, I'm in that tough boat, whatever. Tough spot. And all I'm doing is I'm throwing it out, and I want feedback. And I appreciate your other side of this. I want this because it's just a tough thing to figure out what to do.
So you're saying it's gonna go from $90 to $150?
I just know it goes from $36,000 a year to $150,000.
how that divvies up, who knows?
Yeah.
Is it, you think it's an all-in, we're all in, all agents, or we're not all in? Is there any middle ground to where
I think the
people
middle,
that do want to be in can
I
pay
think the middle-
more than $150 a month?
no, I don't know about that. I think the middle ground is where like Kathy still has, I mean, what she's doing, nothing would change because she's already spending that money. I think agents that then part of that $90, we always use that for realtor.com also, is we take that and we plug that into, if it's pay per click on this site or something else to make up or get more exposure for the agents, would be the effective way.
So the 180 agents that we have in the group, how many of those are doing the premier agent? Do we know that number?
That's a good question. I would think maybe 30.
30%?
I bet less than 20.
20%?
Maybe.
Yeah,
That's a great question.
That'd be a good raise your hand if you're spending money with Zillow or whatever you're spending money with.
Yeah. Good thing.
I know last year, Kathy, they called me, and I've been with Zillow I had a buddy who lived in Seattle, really good friend that turned me on 4 or 5 years ago. And last year they called and said, hey, you've had these zip codes forever, how many long, and we have to raise the price on you now. And it was 150% increase.
Yeah.
So I had to take away zip codes I've had forever and really decide what was important to me. But I thought that was kind of crazy.
Shitty.
Yeah, I mean, to have that kind of raise so quick,
Right.
you know, I mean, if they would just, if you're on a standard, hey, every year it's gonna go up 10%.
Right.
But to come after you after 4 years and you keep buying, every time they call you keep buying more and more. Hey, by the way, if you want to keep these, then you got a week to decide when we're selling them off, and what your wife was spending $1,100 for the zip code, they want $2,600 for it a month now.
It's
So,
crazy.
The bidding in some markets, like if you're in, you say like Phoenix or Chicago, I think it's gonna get real expensive. What they try to say is like in the Des Moines market, hey, it's not gonna bid up that high. But you have to understand is once they switch over to that, if you have zip codes now you have that zip code, it's locked out. I mean, there's only so many spots. But what my
How
understanding
do they
is,
do that when you're under contract?
Yeah, that's what my question is, because I'm under contract, I mean.
you're only in contract for a year.
A year,
So,
right.
yeah, they'll wait
So
till
they
it's up.
just,
They'll wait till it's up.
so they only, but if they're going to a bidding system, how do they?
Mine was up, I was doing this for 3 or 4 years, so mine was up. I never, signed a contract
Right.
initially, but mine was up. So now they could call and do anything once your contract's up. They say, hey,
After the 1
you gotta
year.
call me tomorrow. Otherwise, we got someone that wants these. You're in, you're out. And they had some pretty nasty comments that we overheard, didn't they? I mean, this last year saying Zillow's gonna say, we're gonna get these agents to pay the most and they know what they're doing.
Well, I was gonna say though, on the flip side of that, not that I'm defending them, but that's smart business.
Hey, everybody's in it
I
to
mean-
win it, that's for sure.
but it gets to, so, in human behavior never changes, okay? So it's always the same. So you always go back and look in history because that human behavior is here. It repeats itself, okay? So what you start seeing now with Zillow is the human behavior is just like the Des Moines Register. So I think when you came in the business, I think some of the ads were still there. The register was pretty important.
Yeah.
If we would go back to 1995 or the year 2000 or 2003, the Des Moines Register had a monopoly, and they charged a fortune.
Yeah, I remember that.
Okay,
Coldwell Banker's budget in 2002 was 1.75 million.
and
Now look at it.
Remax in 2005 was over $1 million
Yeah.
with 125 agents.
Right.
Okay, so that's that behavior that I'm seeing with Zillow is it gets so
Kind of
expensive.
cocky and just.
And if they open up the bids, I'm kind of thinking, if I'm an agent and I'm not on Zillow and I want West Des Moines, I can't get it sold out. Man has or somebody else. I think you're a manager or whoever has that. You have zip code West Des Moines. No, I want West. It's got 300,000, 400,000 listings. I want West Des Moines. I want to work that market. Okay, I can't get in. Okay, there's 50 people waiting for it. Okay, so June comes along and now it's a bidding. Oh, I want to get in here. It's June. There's a lot of buyers out. I'm going to just buy it. Okay, I just sold a house because I got some extra money. I'm going to bid and get this for this next month.
Right? Is that you said?
So I think that they're doing that to get more money. They bought Trulia so they had more, so they could generate more revenue.
They've
So,
done some nice things for Trulia, actually.
and we're all getting pressure on commissions, listing site commissions, because the market's hot. And how many people are selling for sale by owners now? A lot, just showing all these for sale by owners. So now we're getting pressure on the listing side, and you got companies like Zillow and I don't know about Realtor.com or contract reviews in December of this year, what they're gonna increase to.
I do think Zillow is a double-edged sword, that's for sure.
I would agree.
What side of there you fall on? We will actually fall on both sides occasionally. It's given for sale by owners a very big platform. At the same time, it's given us a chance to connect with people who might never
Right,
have a chance to.
exactly.
So it's just,
Hey, I'm on both, I'm torn.
yeah,
on
me
both
too.
sides.
It's a double, I mean, it's like, what side you fall on? Eventually, they're gonna outprice themselves to where you're gonna really look at it and go, man,
Well, I mean, you have to scrutinize
You
the
know.
numbers, and if it's not worth it, it's not
Yeah.
worth it, you take your money somewhere else, but.
So are you saying that if I'm in,
That's a good point, you're still gonna spend it somewhere
You're
else.
gonna spend it somewhere
That's a
else.
good
To
point.
me, if you're wanting those leads, you're gonna find
So
somewhere else to spend it.
10% of your gross needs to be put back into your business, you know.
And that's what happened to Des Moines Register. The rates went up so high, then as agents, we found, and companies, we found a different way that was more effective.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you look projected out in the future, that could be the same thing with Zillow. Is there a better way to spend the money?
yeah, well, the advent of the internet, like, you just put.
Well, I was gonna say internet
Like that.
and like social media had a
Right.
huge
Remember-
bearing on.
I got that number from Caroline Himmel, we were having lunch, this was about the time that it was clear the internet was taking over, 2002, whatever, and I'm like, how much is that 1.75 million you're spending part of the budget? It was like 75%. I said, well, what's the lead version like? And at that time, the paper was only getting 18% return on it, So I'm like, so you're gonna spend 7% of your budget for 18% of the return? That sounds like a bad business philosophy to me. I'm not an accountant. But you could see the way that was gonna go.
Right.
You know what I mean? And now the papers, they might stop printing them for all I know, the way they're losing money.
can anybody be in the auction? I mean, if I'm in Omaha, can I auction in West Des Moines?
I don't know.
I
That's a
might have
great
that
question.
going on.
God, you could.
Because of a sister state,
Yeah, there's a movement with mega teams that are going to use it.
I mean, it's all about gaining share.
Mhm.
you have agents winning with Zillow, but since this guy really wants in, I'll sell it to you for $1,000
That's right,
more.
that's right.
Stop,
I've been here for a
stop,
year,
like,
how much do you
step
want
up.
it for?